getting kind of rejected or just never given an opportunity. And so I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to do something completely outside the box. I'm going to start this festival. I'm going to put my home up for collateral. I don't want any freaking investors. I don't want anyone in my business. It's got to be about great music, great beer, and a great location. And it's got to be around something that's more satisfying than just getting fucked up. You know, like, let's do things that make us feel really good, whether it's snowshoeing or shit, doing some yoga in the morning, or riding all day, or going backcountry, and then coming down and meeting with your mates, having some beers, and like being rocked out with the experience without seeing banner 1, banner 2, the stupid blow up bottle of this brand or that brand. It's like, I got great brand partnerships and I respect them so much and I appreciate them, but everyone's allowed me to develop this thing as I wanted to. So there's no one doing it in the winter, so why not? You know, let's go back. The original vibe came back to, I remember being in Vermont as a kid and we'd ski all day, and the coolest thing about it was, like, at the end of the day, you'd all gather at the base lodge, and it was a tiny little base lodge, and all us kids were up on the plastic trays sliding down, and our parents were, like, having a beer, listening to acoustic music, guys out there grilling. It's super simple. There's no hype. There's no bullshit. There's no branding. But the spirit felt so good. So when I got out west and saw that started to, like, wither away, I was like, let's rejoin the tribes. And so that's why the original idea kind of popped out.
Just bring it back to its roots.
Yeah.
Find an untapped market. It was crazy enough that just might work. And it did. It's awesome.
Well,
love it.
And that makes me want to kind of ask you a question. Like, you know, and it kind of follows up on what Chris said as well. It's like you did the first of its kind, which is this winter outdoor festival, especially in Colorado. And I remember year one, I was there. It fucking dumped on us on Sunday, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I'll just leave after the show." And we ended up partying through the night and, you know, into Monday morning, and it was dumping snow. How do you get? And we're going to dive into the 2019 Winter Wondergrass and hype it up as well. But how did you get other folks to buy in? Was it, I mean, you speak with passion, you can see it in your heart and your smile, you know, like you have that. How did you get folks to join on, like get on board? Because you had some pretty big names. I can't remember the exact lineup, but you had a pretty solid little set list every single day of the weekend in 2013. How did you get folks to buy into it with you when it was just kind of your jam?
That's a good question. And I mean, huge shout out to the bands. And I say this a lot, you know, Winter Wondergrass isn't about me at all. I just happen to be the one that was driving the bus, but everybody got on the bus, right? And the bands were the first to sign up. And I mean, seriously, I think I might even have talked to Paul personally with Green Sky Bluegrass and or the guys in the infamous String Dusters. I'm like, I got this crazy idea. They're like, we're in. And I'm like, I haven't even explained it. They're like, we're in. You know, it was coming off the days of, you know, I used to run and be a partner of State Bridge Lodge, and that's where I really cut my teeth on this whole experience of bringing people together and like breaking it down to what's the most important elements of a gathering. And for me, it's around the fire, passing the whiskey bottle, and having some people playing acoustic music and just feeling the love, the essential elements of music, right? So I'm good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
We're good. So
I want everyone to be full of beer.
Yeah, so that was the original idea, and the buy-in came from the bands originally. And I was lucky enough to sit in with Leftover Salmon way back in the day as a freestyler, and we did a couple shows, and one was in Steamboat, and it was like -10. And we're out there with these crappy little heaters, and I saw the band performing. I'm like, okay, it's possible. And then some of the other big festivals I worked on were outdoors. Granted, there was some button pushing and not a lot of live instrumentation, but it kind of dawned on me. It's like, if your favorite football team is in the playoffs in January, you're going to sit outside for 4 hours, drink beer, freeze your ass off. Well, shit, like if I can get you dancing for 6 with your favorite bands and a better beer for half the price, it's possible, right? We can do this.
That's great rationale.
Yeah, so it's worked. And a huge shout out to my ops team, because I was right out of the gate. I'm like, we got to heat the stage. They're like, it's outside. We got the standard little propane heater. I'm like, oh no. So fast forward to now, what these guys have is like they've built a whole frontal facade on the main stage that pumps, I'll probably get it wrong, but I think it's 2 or 3 million BTUs of diesel-fired heat that comes out and pushes across the front of the stage. Now, to all my sustainability friends, it's not perfect, and we're working harder to become more sustainable on that front, which is why we work so hard on our other sustainability initiatives. I know I'm going to get some shit.
Shout out Marina and Waste Free Earth.
I love you. Yeah.
We'll tag you.
But that's what we've done, and we've shown the artists time and again that we really are focused on making sure that your fingers are able to function at the highest of calibers, because your art and what you're creating and what you're doing is of the highest of utmost importance to what we're creating. And so that's how it happened. And then each year it's become better and better and better.
I mean, I kind of feel like if I was, I'm nowhere close to being a epic star or band member. But
Hey,
I feel
don't
like
sell yourself short. This podcast is going to the goddamn moon, and we are going to be stars.
that is true. But until that happens, I feel like if somebody was like, hey, there's this guy out in Colorado throwing these winter festivals, I'd be like, where do I sign up to?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, just, I can see how year after year, word of mouth, these guys are like, man, I had a great time out here during the winter time. You know, like, that's awesome. Such a good idea.
Okay, and I won't divert from the conversation of kind of getting to know you and getting to know, how the big brain came up with such a brilliant concept. But have you ever thought about melding the two, the EDM festival and the bluegrass? Because Brian and I sat down with Trout Steak and we asked them when they were going to bring a synthesizer on stage. And Travis was like, we're not far off from it. That's eventually going to be a band or be a scene. What's the next step? You've got 3 locations. We got your, I guess, home state or home, back home, I guess we'll call it back east. Yep. Y'all do Vermont, and then y'all have Steamboat, and then y'all have Tahoe, like you mentioned earlier. What's next? Do you have something brilliant in mind that we don't know about?
Man.
It seems like all your brainchilds have kind of come from past experiences, but also at the same time come with this passion project that, you kind of show how much you love it through how excellent it is.
Well, I've got some ideas, certainly. One is to always ensure that we're doing all we can to make each winter Wondergrass better every time. I'll take some praise, and my team will take praise the day after the festival, and people are like, great job. We feel good about that. We say thank you. We're immediately thinking about how we can make the experience better for the next one and where we could do it that fits our mission. And we're never going to expand to expand. That's not the point. I'm not looking to go out and create a bunch of these festivals and then you sell them. And it's silly to me. It makes no sense. The objective is to make sure we're curating something that feels really good for each individual person. So when they leave, they're more stoked and they're more connected. So they go out into their community and they understand potentially how to recycle better, or they want to take guitar lessons, or they learned about a new band. So we want to build those experiences so people are deeply inspired by them when they go home. And when we expand, going to Vermont was coming home. It was a nod to Vermont. People you're throwing a festival in December in Vermont, you're out of your mind. I'm like, yeah, obviously. So we're still going to try to do it. And we did, and it worked. And the people were so appreciative. And once they knew my story of going to Vermont as a kid and being inspired by that experience, going to Colorado, but then wanting to come back to Vermont and bring something back to them, truly because I felt like I owed it to that place. So that's why we do what we do, and that's what leads me to the next idea. And so, wait, how many people are listening?
We have roughly, it's about 1 million.
Yeah, shit.
2 comments.
I hope this
we're
idea
hunting
doesn't get
comments.
Well, the idea I have, I think it's pretty cool. I can lay it out here because I think it's pretty funny. So I'm not a big fan of taking off in the winter and just going somewhere to party. I like to go with purpose. If you've been to Winter Wondergrass or Camp Out for the Cause, there's a lot of purpose, a lot of intention there. So why not in the middle of July, we throw our favorite couple bands on a plane, we rent a plane, and fly somewhere south of the border, and we land in a spot that produces great wine or great beer, and it's got great skiing and great riding. We hang out for a week, and we enjoy all that the winter inspires us to be. Adventurous, risk-taking, pumped up.
You probably need media to cover this whole event.
I do. I need sponsorship, too.
That's us. I don't know about sponsorship, but we'll be there.
Does it sound fun?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Because the summer is the winter.
So
keep following it.
That's real woke right there.
Was it?
That was
I was
woke.
going for that.
That was woke as shit.
You like that?
Yeah. But
wow.
dream big,
and
don't be afraid to fail a ton of times,
Yeah.
Every day, I have anxiety about Winter Wondergrass. I wake up I wouldn't say stressed out of my mind, but more I see a lot of stress all the time because I haven't sold out. I'm the financier and the janitor of the whole thing and the talent buyer. So there's a ton of pressure and a ton of risk, but if you're not feeling that, you're not living. And so if I'm not nervous or anxious, then I'm not experiencing life. That's why I travel.
Dude, he's doing it right over here.
It's hard though, man.
Hey, I don't disagree with you. I can only imagine that you're putting in long days, long hours, riding up to this week. So this week is kind of like the precipice of, a lot of hard work over the last couple months. And I mean, Vermont was probably the same. We were not there because, we had just kind of gotten this off the ground. Otherwise, we would have probably been your media sponsor, obviously. But at the same time, is there anything we should be like, is there anything new this year that maybe our fans from last year that are coming back? I mean, obviously we have another sold out venue, heater lineup for this year. We have our friends, the infamous String Dusters, Railroad Earth. I don't think Leftovers on that list. You mentioned them earlier. Are they Tahoe? Okay. Well, do we have anything, any surprises that we could kind of tease a little bit for our fans at home?
Man, well, I think nothing that's super noticeable.
Jumpy Castle?
Oh, of course, and plenty of those. Yes, with whiskey dipped, kids items, so we get the kids in there bouncing around. I think experientially, we're trying to make it flow better on site. So, like when you get on site this year, you'll see there's like a different box office entrance. There's a better way to line up. There's a quicker way to get people in. There's a little bit more heat in some of the tents. We moved the stage in the soapbox tent to the back corner with a better backdrop and angle and throw to the audience so it's not as congested. My partner Mike Welly's designed these backdrops that go behind all the side stages that are his mom hand painted in these old barnwood design sound panels wrapped in burlap and painted to look like old barns so it soaks up the sound and it's a better experience for the bands and for the attendees. So those types of things, we love doing. We're creating a tin cup whiskey saloon that looks like an old mining shack.
Hell
and
yeah.
hand doing the old corrugated steel, side panels and custom signage. So when you walk in, we want you to feel transported. We want to make sure that we're not sitting on our ass all year round knowing that you're coming, because we don't know that you're coming, and we want to make sure you're coming back every single time. So you'll notice those things. We're doing a really cool pop-up on the mountain. This year we're moving it from the lodge situation where it was really crowded. We've taken over this old little area at the bottom of the half pipe at Steamboat. We haven't announced that yet. So that's Basher, and it's going to be 11 to 1 Saturday, Sunday. We got Pixie and the Party Grass and Chain Station playing it. And I was talking with Steamboat yesterday. They're like, so here's how it has to go. Like the band will drive up to the Thunderhead lift, and from there they can either get on snowmobiles. We'll take their gear. We'll bring them to Basher, or they can ski, which is cool. And then the gal, she's great. She's like, or we could loan them some snowshoes, and they could walk up to the venue. And Jeffrey Swagger's like, no, they're not going to be getting on the snowshoes. So that's what, we're trying to make sure the experience is as unique and fun for the attendees as it is for the bands. And shout out to Pixie and Chain Station for getting into something that they didn't know was going to be just like I said it was now.
So, time out. Yes, we are breaking news, and it also sounds fucking awesome. Let me ask you, which of those three options did y'all choose to go with? Because I feel like the snowmobile is the play. I mean, it brings straight sex appeal. I've never heard of a band coming on from snowmobiles.
That or like a band coming down the mountain like in an old James Bond movie, on skis, but with their guitars and like just strapped on, ready to play. That'd be fucking wild.
I think Bridget Law will do that. Andy Thorne, when he's healthier, he'll do that. I think Tyler Grant skied into the event once, so there's a couple of those guys and gals out there.
All right.
Yeah.
So everybody look forward. That's Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. I can't even remember where you mentioned. Basher. There you go. So there we go. There's a little teaser we can now say breaking news. We'll put in the little do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, we have that ability.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you. So for our listeners out there who have never been to Winter Wondergrass, what's the one thing you can say right now to say, take that next weekend off and head up there? What would you say?
If you want to feel completely embraced by a community that you've never met before and leave feeling like you can't wait to return, then come.
That's a great sell. And I mean, it is a little different. You're right, Littman. You really can't. And, we know a little bit about it, but it is a sold out weekend, but there are still ways to get tickets for day tickets, so to speak. And that's because y'all have managed to partner with another listener-friendly organization, and that is called, starts with an L. Light. Would you mind telling our listeners how they may be able to, because it is a sold-out show, and maybe because you're on 9 News yesterday, you sold all the goddamn tickets. But how, what Light is, why you partnered with them, and, why it's beneficial to our listeners. If they are looking for day tickets, this is the way to go.
Yeah, this is a new partnership for us. It's called Light. It's a fan-to-fan ticketed